Hi guys, I'm Mike. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today I want to talk to you about the biggest mistakes that you can make in Raid Shadow Legends. When you start playing Raid Shadow Legends, you will soon learn that everything you can do inside the game costs some kind of resource. Just for example, playing the game. If you want to play campaign, for example, it will cost you energy. If you want to play in arena, it will cost you tokens for the arena. If you want to play tag team arena, it will also cost tokens. If you want to play clan boss, you will need to have keys available. Everything costs resources in this game. And those were just a couple of them. One of the scarcest resources in the game is actually books. And with books, you can increase the power of your champions by making their skills better. But books are really rare, and there are three types of books available. You have rare books, which are the light blue ones. You have purple books, which are epic books, and you have legendary books. Well, as you might imagine, the higher they become, the more rare they become. And legendary books are really, really, really expensive. If you want to buy those in the shop, you will have to pay a lot of money for it. So one of the biggest mistakes that you could make in this game is feeding a legendary book to say something like a rare champion. If you upgrade their skills with a legendary book, this is just a huge waste of resources. These books are very rare, hard to come by, and if you use them on lower rarity champions, that's, well, probably the biggest mistake that you can make inside this game. Another huge mistake that you could make is feed a very good champion to level up a different champion. Because if you want to rank up champions in this game, you will need to feed them the other champions of the same rank. But as you might imagine, there are a lot of good champions in this game, also a lot of bad ones, luckily, but also a lot of good ones. And if you use them to feed to one of your champions, then you will lose them forever. So, say for example, I would want to rank up my Arbiter. Then I could say, okay, I want to upgrade his rank and I want to use 5 champions for it. Luckily, I have a chicken available, which is never a bad thing to use, but I also have quite a lot of different good champions over here. So I could say, okay, I want to use this one, and I want to use no. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I want to use this one, and that way you can feed good champions into your Arbiter to level her up. But you do need to realize that you will lose these champions in the process. And that's something that you might not want to do, because you might be needing these champions in the future. So always consider if a champion that you are using to rank up another champion are not actually champions that you want to use in the future. Because if they are, then you better not use them as food. Then you'd better just rank up very bad champions, like an uncommon champion, which costs a lot of work, of course, or a bad rare. And then you can better use them as food for your champion that you want to rank up. A resource that you will very rarely have enough of is silver. And silver is used to increase the level of your gear. But increasing the level of your gear is very, very expensive. If you want to rank up gear to, say, level 16, which is the maximum, then you will need to put in like 1.5 to 2 million silver to actually get it to the maximum level. So that's a lot of silver. But at the beginning of the game, you will get a lot of gear that is not high level, which you will not be using all the way through. So you should avoid putting too much silver in those pieces of gear, because you will regret it later on. Taking it up to level 8 is no problem. Sometimes you could maybe even take it up to level 12, but this is already a considerable investment in that piece of gear. So maybe it's better to wait till you actually get to 4, maybe 5-star gear before leveling up gear to level 16. When you start the game, you will actually not have that many champions available, and this is not only a bad thing, because if you get more champions, you might want to actually invest in all those champions and level them up, make them more powerful. But it is actually a way better idea to start out by focusing on one champion, one of the starter champions, for example. They are great campaign farmers, and you will need those to be at level 60 as soon as possible. My starter champion was Elhain, and my first priority when I started the game was to get her to level 60. So I needed to get her to 6 stars and to level 60. This was a lot of work, but once you get one champion to level 60, this will help you greatly in all parts of the game. They will be able to farm a lot of resources for you then, and this is very helpful. But people often end up leveling up their starter champion, for example, to level 50, and then they get another good champion, and they think, oh wow, maybe I should invest in this one too, and then you invest in that champion as well. And this costs you so much resources, and you don't have that many resources available yet at the beginning. And this could really hamper the development of your main champion at the start. So you don't want to do that. Focus on one champion at the start, and after that focus on leveling up a full team of like 4 or 5 champions to level 60, and after that you can start to expand. But don't focus on too many champions at once. If you want to level all champions that you get that are reasonable or good at the same time, you will probably end up with loads of level 50s and just a small group of level 60s perhaps, and this will really hamper your development of your account. Something that you should also avoid is not only focusing on too many champions, but focusing on the wrong champions. Because, well, as you may realize, there are good champions in this game. There are also very bad champions in this game. So, for example, if we scroll down a little bit over here, we noticed a couple of really good champions already, like Arbiter is incredible, and Farrakhan, and there's just loads of good ones over here, so that's fine. But when looking at champions like, well, this one, for example, Defiled Sinner, or maybe something like Guardian, these guys are not all that great. So if you focus on leveling these guys up, you can put a lot of resources in there, and they will not actually be all that useful to you in the future. So it's always a good thing to check out if these champions are considered to be good. There are reviews inside the game, but these are not all that reliable, if you ask me. Lots of very good champions have lower ratings than you might expect, and there are also champions that have quite high ratings that I would not expect, for example. So a good thing to do is check out a couple of websites, like hellhades.com or maybe ayumilove.net. They are really good at providing information on what champions are considered to be relatively good and what champions are considered to be worse. So you might disagree with the ratings that people give them somehow. That's all fine, but it gives you a little bit of help when deciding what champions to level up and what champions to leave alone. So that's always a good thing to do before you actually throw away a good champion as food, or if you start leveling up a champion that's not all that great to begin with. So the next mistake might not apply to all of you guys, since a lot of people are also trying to play this game free to play. But there are also horrible shop offers in this game, which I would consider a huge mistake if you buy them. Because the shop, you get loads of offers daily. Plarium really wants to sell a lot of stuff to us, that's obvious. But there are good offers in the shop and there are horrendous offers in the shop. But how to decide which is which? Luckily, we do not have to decide that all on our own. We can then use a couple of tools that you can find online. There are a couple of calculators available, and I always use this one. And you just need to fill in the offer price and then fill in all the items that are contained in the offer. And the calculator then will give you a score. And in this calculator, a score of 2 or higher is what I would consider to be an offer that I may want to buy. Everything below that, I wouldn't bother. It's just there are really, really horrendous shop offers out there that offer horrible value, but everything that's above 2, I would consider a good idea to consider if you want to spend some money in the game. Never go below that, and you will never buy an offer that will just cost you a load of money and that does not deliver value for it. The final mistake that I want to warn you about is to spend resources, and like we already concluded, there are lots of them inside this game, to use your resources outside of events. For example, we have shards, and with these shards we summon champions, and we need champions, that's obvious. But there are events in the game that increase the chance of getting a higher rarity champions, for example. So if there's a 2 times ancient event, then you will have a 2 times higher chance of getting a legendary and getting an epic from an ancient shard. These 2 time events occur in the weekends, and they happen every other week, and they cycle through ancient to void to sacred and then back again. So you will see them quite often. But you could also just pull shards outside of those events. But doing so would be a huge mistake in my opinion, because then you would just miss out on the extra chance that you would get a higher level rarity champion, which is very beneficial because the higher rarity champions are often a lot better than the lower rarity ones. So this is something that you might want to consider before opening all your shards. So just save them up for an event like that. But also there are tournaments going on. Almost daily there are a couple of tournaments. And if you have a summon rush, for example, then you get even more out of your shards. Because when you summon champions in that period, then they will also provide you with extra prizes that you can earn in a tournament. This is a champion training tournament, for example. If you start leveling up champions and you do so during a champion training tournament, then you can actually earn a lot of other resources just by taking part in that tournament. And that's very helpful. They come in all sorts of forms and sizes, and almost all resources that you have available are connected to some kind of event. For example, the artifact enhancement event is an event that will give you prizes based on how much gear you level up, and this will cost you a lot of silver, of course. Dungeon divers event, they are based on how many artifacts and accessories you gather from dungeons. So all of these events and tournaments, they add to the value that you would get from spending your resources. So always try to consider if this is the best time for you to start leveling up your champions, for example, or if this is the best time for you to start throwing money into artifacts, or if this is the best time, even this one, to put in books in your champions, because those are actually items that will help you in clan versus clan tournaments. If you use books during a clan versus clan tournament, this will greatly increase the number of points you gain for your clan versus clan tournament. So all these things are things that you need to consider. And if you just keep that in the back of your head when spending your resources, then you will always get the best bang for your buck. So those were a couple of the biggest mistakes that you can make in Raid Shadow Legends. If you have any other mistakes that you want to warn us about, please leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching all the way through. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to the channel. I will have a lot of new Raid Shadow Legends videos coming up in the future. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.